The moment the museum screens changed by themselves, the whole crowd in the National History Museum froze like statues. It was opening night of a new show in Washington, D.C. The title stretched across a giant curved screen like bright chalk: America's Darkest Unsolved Murders. History. Families, students, police officers, YouTubers, and old detectives with tired eyes stood shoulder to shoulder under that screen. Soft music played. The air smelled like fresh paint and lemon cleaner. Dr. Emily Cross, the museum director, smiled on stage and lifted her microphone. Then the music cut out. The lights cooled to a hard blue. The big screen flashed once and went black. White letters slid into place in the middle, plain and calm. "Count them." A whisper moved through the crowd. "Is this part of it?" A dad pulled his son closer. Dr. Cross lowered her microphone, frowning. The screen changed again. 10 old black and white photos appeared in a neat row. These were real victims from famous cold cases everyone had heard about in school or on TV. People nodded. Okay, maybe this was a dramatic start. Then an 11th box opened on the end. Empty. The empty box began to bloom into a new photo, not old at all. It was live. It showed Dr. Emily Cross on this very stage, navy blazer, silver pin, smiling at us. Under her face, a little stamp typed itself in clean letters. Unsolved. Gasps popped like bubbles. Dr. Cross blinked up at her own face. She tried to joke, "That must be a glitch," but her voice landed like a dropped plate. In the back, Detective Ava Reed, visiting off-duty, touched her badge out of habit. Beside her, reporter Jordan Hale raised his phone to film. "That can't be scripted," he whispered. All the exit doors clicked at the same time. Phones lit up in hands. The building speakers crackled. A calm voice, neither old nor young, no accent you could place, filled the hall like a teacher taking attendance. "Hello, Washington. Count them. Count them all. Count backward. Start now." A thin spotlight reached across the hall and pointed at a door marked Archive, Staff Only. The door opened a few inches and stopped. Cold air slipped out. The voice softened, polite. "Dr. Cross. History is waiting." Security reached for radios. Nothing but hiss. Cell bars dropped to 0. Detective Ava Reed slid forward through the crowd. "Make space," she called, steady but firm. She joined Dr. Cross at the door. Jordan followed, filming. On the floor just inside, a small white note waited like a business card. Ava pulled it closer with her pen. It said, in neat block letters, "Count backward from 10. The ceiling made a tiny bell sound, as if a spoon tapped a cup. 10, the voice said. 9. "Don't read that out loud," Ava told Dr. Cross. "Stay with me." We moved together. They stepped into the archive hall. Low guide lights glowed along the floor like runway dots. As they walked, glass cases on both sides lit up one by one. A crumpled letter, a diner receipt, a ticket stub, a kid's baseball cap, a broken watch with both hands stuck straight up at 12. Jordan whispered, "This is real, right?" "Too real," Ava said. 8, the voice counted. Another small bell. The hall opened into a cold room of gray cabinets and a metal table. On the table lay a jigsaw of framed newspaper clippings from different cases, cut crooked on purpose like a puzzle begging to be solved. On top of the frames sat a brass key tied to a paper tag. "West Wing, Vault, Midnight." 7, the voice said, closer now, like it was in the vents. Tiny cameras winked from corners. Dr. Cross shook her head. "These frames aren't ours." Ava pocketed the key and checked her watch. 9:42 p.m. Midnight felt like a wall racing toward them. "West Wing." "No." The floor lights changed from white to red and led them to a heavy door. "West Wing, authorized staff only." The brass key turned smooth. Inside, the vault looked like a library that forgot how to breathe. Thick glass, tall shelves, quiet air. In the center, a new display case stood alone in a circle of light. Inside the glass sat a single wooden chair with a clean coil of rope resting on the seat. A white card leaned against the glass. "If you can solve one, I will give you one." Jordan lowered his phone. "Solve one case, and he'll give us one person." His voice shook. Ava didn't answer. She scanned the room, then the case, then the pad on the case. 4 empty squares for a code. The ceiling bell chimed again. 6, the voice said, almost bright. A buzz sounded behind a shelf. Ava found a cheap flip phone hidden behind binders and pressed speaker. The same calm voice came through the tiny speaker, a little warmer now. Detective Reed. Good. We can go faster. Here's your starting line. Who did you forget? The flip screen flashed a photo, a small blue street sign, ELM Ridge, POP 4102, taped with a paper label in black marker, Aaron Pike. Dr. Cross flinched. We have his file in a school exhibit, she said. Teen pitcher. Disappeared after practice. Candlelight vigil the first year. Then, smaller. Then, she couldn't finish. Ava felt the thought land heavy. She remembered a different town, a different vigil, the way promises fade like chalk in rain. The vault wall lit up with a map, a simple outline of a school building with a red dot blinking at equipment room. The voice said, gentle as a tour guide, 5. Count slower. You always rush. Ava looked back at the case. The code pad waited. 4 numbers. Her eyes flicked to the entrance banner she'd walked under earlier, 1876 to 2026, 150 years of questions. She tried 1876. Beep. Wrong. She tried 2026. Beep. Wrong. The bell chimed. 4. Try his jersey number, Jordan said. Pitchers love 11s. Ava entered 0011. Beep. Wrong. She didn't waste a second on anger. She scanned the base of the glass for a seam and the floor around the pedestal for scratches. Something was off. The pad was bait. The case wasn't meant to open, not by her fingers. Not yet. The map's red dot began to pulse faster. 3, the voice said. The lights in the great hall flicked back on for a blink, and the giant curved screen switched to a live feed from a vault camera, showing Ava, Dr. Cross, and Jordan standing by the case. The crowd in the hall shouted for them to stop, to run, to break the glass. Then the screen split. Another window showed the archive door they'd come through sliding quietly shut. 2, the voice said, pleased. The vault lights thinned to a dim blue. A new sound rolled in from somewhere below the shelves, a small, slow song plinking on toy keys. Happy Birthday played too slowly, like gum stretched thin. Ava's jaw set. She didn't move toward the sound. She watched the floor. A hairline seemed traced a square beside the case, a panel she hadn't noticed, trimmed so tight it looked like a drawing. Air kissed her ankles, rising cold through the seam. 1, the voice said. The seam slid. A narrow panel opened with a clean sigh, revealing steep steps disappearing into black. A draft rose from below. Dust, paper, and the faint scent of river water. The map on the wall zoomed in by itself until the red dot filled the screen like a beating heart. Ava angled her flashlight down the stairwell. The beam landed on 3 things in a row, chalk tally marks scratched into concrete, a tin box with a puzzle piece peeking out, and a pink shoelace tied into a perfect bow at the edge of the first step. Dr. Cross grabbed Ava's sleeve. We shouldn't go down there, she whispered. The stairwell swallowed them, step by step, until the glow from the vault above was gone. Detective Ava Reed's flashlight beam cut through the black like a knife, but the air felt heavier with each breath, damp and thick, as though they had stepped into the lungs of the building itself. The chalk tally marks on the walls grew more crowded, stretching higher than any hand could have comfortably reached, like someone had been down here for years, scratching away time. Dr. Cross clung to the wall as she followed, whispering, "This wasn't in the blueprints. This isn't possible." Her voice was a trembling thread in the dark. Jordan Hale tried to keep his camera steady, though his shaking hands made the lens jitter. "We're live history," he muttered, as if saying it out loud made it any less horrifying. At the bottom of the steps, the chamber opened into a wide underground space. The beam of Ava's flashlight caught rows of wooden chairs lined up like a classroom, each with ropes tied neatly across the armrests. Empty chairs waiting for occupants. On the far wall, a huge section of concrete had been covered with children's handwriting. Names written in chalk, erased, written again. Some of the names were crossed out violently, others left untouched. In the center of the chamber sat a small wooden table, the tin box already open as if waiting for them. Ava lifted the puzzle piece from inside, reading the headline fragment, Local boy still missing, vigil every year. She slipped it into her pocket with a brass tag that read lock the doors. Count again. The toy piano tune started again. Not from the room itself, but echoing through a vent overhead, faint and slow. The familiar notes of Happy Birthday bled into the air like a child playing with sticky fingers. Dr. Cross gasped suddenly. "Listen," she whispered. And there it was, a second sound, soft but unmistakable. Breathing. Not theirs. It was coming from behind the row of chairs. Ava raised her flashlight, sweeping across the seats. At first, nothing. Then, movement. A small figure crouched low, hair matted, eyes glowing in the beam. "Stay back," Ava ordered, voice steady but firm. She moved closer, the flashlight trembling only slightly. The figure straightened slowly, and for the first time they saw her clearly. A girl, no older than 10, face pale, lips dry, rope burns still fresh on her wrists. The girl's eyes darted between them, wide and terrified. She spoke in a whisper so soft it was almost swallowed by the damp air. "He said I don't belong to me anymore. He said I belong to history." Dr. Cross covered her mouth, choking on a sob. Jordan's camera tilted as his grip shook. Ava crouched to the girl's level, her voice low and calm. "You're safe now. What's your name?" The girl hesitated, then whispered, "Lucy." Before Ava could respond, the flip phone in her pocket buzzed violently. She opened it, put it on speaker. The same calm voice filled the chamber, but now it carried a hint of satisfaction. "Detective, you're ahead of schedule. You found one. Good. But remember the rules. If you can solve one, I will give you one." The phone's screen lit up with a timer. 12 minutes. It began counting down, second by second. Ava's gut clenched. "What happens when it hits 0? She demanded. The voice chuckled lightly, as though amused by her defiance. "You'll see. America's darkest unsolved murders aren't in your textbooks anymore. They're alive again. And you, detective, will decide who gets remembered and who stays forgotten." The phone clicked off. The timer kept running. Lucy tugged Ava's sleeve, her whisper trembling. "He'll come back. He always comes back when the song stops." The toy piano tune slowed, dragging its last notes into silence. The chamber sank into unbearable stillness. Then came a new sound, wood scraping on stone. One of the chairs shifted by itself, ropes tightening across the armrests as though pulled by invisible hands. Another chair followed, dragging forward with a screech. One by one, the chairs began to move, arranging themselves in a perfect line facing the three of them. Jordan cursed under his breath, filming with frantic hands. Dr. Cross shook her head, whispering, "This isn't real, this can't be real." Ava stood tall, flashlight fixed on the empty chairs. "Lucy," Ava said without looking away, "where does he come from?" The girl raised a trembling hand and pointed toward the far wall. A section of the concrete was darker than the rest, almost like a hidden door. Just as Ava turned her light toward it, a sharp cracking sound split the chamber. The wall itself groaned and a thin line of black opened slowly, spreading wide like a mouth. From the dark gap, a draft of air rushed out, cold, heavy, carrying the smell of wet earth and something metallic. Lucy screamed and buried her face against Dr. Cross's coat. The line in the wall widened into a doorway, and from the shadows inside, a tall, thin silhouette began to emerge. The flip phone buzzed again. The screen now read one word in